I mean, should we pour out some liquor for our fallen soldier TikTokiana?
Her ass is back. What are we pouring out for?
Is she back? Or I don't know, TikTok.
Listen.
Okay, well, that was the shortest grieving period I've had. Well, welcome back, TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah. When the whole thing was a stunt.
Friends in real life.
I am in charge of the girls.
Because all I do is dress and rest.
Big fun. Big fun. Isn't that what you had? Contrary to popular opinion, I'm the head nigger in charge. King Kong ain't got shit on me.
And when you look at the credit,
Yeah.
the girlies are there.
Good Times just always, it just felt too sad every time. I was like, they keep calling it Good Times, but like every episode is like, Lord, where's the money?
And that's friends in real life.
That reminds me of, speaking of TikTok, there was this little girl. She was like an Asian girl who became really, really popular on social media. And I think it was from TikTok. And then I don't know what happened. I guess like her fame or notoriety or something started falling because they like staged her death. And everybody was on the internet saying RIP. What was that little girl's name? Lil Tay, I think.
Yes. Okay, I remember
You
this.
remember that? She was always talking about like how much money she had and like all this stuff, and she blew up. And then one day they were posting that she died, and I feel like her parents were behind it.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So I don't know. Apparently, faking your death is the move on TikTok.
I mean, yeah, I mean that's very old school. That's very Roxy Hart. That's very like wowzers. Yeah, well, I guess I'm glad it's back for those who enjoy it.
Okay.
I did not shed the tears that folks seem to be shedding when
I did. I was sad. I was
I was
sad.
happy, not happy that the way that it happened because I don't like the stunt and the politics of it all, but
Right. All of that is total bullshit. But
to have a little break, I don't have to worry about strategy for work for this app anymore. I don't have to
oh
worry
yeah, that's right. You have to act.
crunching of chicken in a front seat. Like for a second, I was like, hey, you know what? 2025 may not be so bad after all. And they said, well,
You know why I felt bad? Because I know that there are people who have like really built themselves
yeah,
off of TikTok. And I am not, as you know, into any of the social media things like that. It's just, it's too much access to me from strangers that I'm not comfortable with. It's feeling like I need to be obligated to perform and, do a whole bunch of things that I just don't have the patience for, nor really the interest in. I feel like anything that I have to say, somebody out there has said it, and they're, much more comfortable with the attention that comes along with saying the things. So I look at, social media more so from a viewer standpoint, and then also from a research standpoint in case I need to deal with it for like, clients and, strategizing for them and stuff like that.
yep.
But it's not something that I would ever be comfortable enough. I'm never comfortable enough with it to the point where I would like monetize or try to make a living off of it, but I am in awe of the people who can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and the content that I was getting over there was just much better quality than the content on the other social media platforms. I thought for sure that I would be annoyed by TikTok.
I don't know how you're not. I don't
I
know how.
know it seems like something that would really get on my nerves, right?
I just,
But
yeah, and it's so
you
funny.
know what it is?
Yeah, tell me. I still don't, I want to understand. So tell me.
Like, I appreciate people's storytelling capabilities on TikTok. Like
Mhm.
the way people get on that app and really like tap in to storytelling, I think that that is really, really top tier content.
Mhm.
Because I'm a girl who loves tea. So
Mhm.
they're over there just spilling all kinds of crazy family secrets, and it's like so wild over there, but it doesn't have this air of like sadness and like depression and shit like Facebook does. Like when people are spilling their life stories on Facebook,
Yeah.
my depression is triggered. Like I'm just like, oh God, it is always, Debbie Downer antics on this platform. Like I can't take it, which is why I'm not on there anymore. Every time I would open Facebook, it would be somebody crying about something, complaining about something, something has gone terribly wrong in their lives. And then it's just, I'm just putting this out here. And then there's nothing. Like it's just out in in the void. And I'm just like, okay, now what are we supposed to do with this information? Do I have to come back for follow up? Like, what are we doing with it? Like, you just came on here to vent and I don't know, spread negativity. And now what am I supposed to do? Whereas TikTok, they're giving the drama, they're giving like the crazy too, but it's like, I don't know, they somehow managed to make it not be so devastating. I don't
You
know if it's because
sure?
they're putting makeup on while they're doing it or
Yeah, I
what it's
think
not gonna like I don't know what it is
that's
about.
that's the part for me. So yes, I think, well, first of all, I think Facebook, to your point, is not a place for storytelling. It's just a place for like putting information out. So it's like, yeah, guys, today such and such died, like or like I can't get my child's father to come pick his kids up. Like it's very much
Yeah, I
to
don't.
the point. Real
Mm-mm.
TikTok is like, okay, so guess what, y'all? I was going to get chicken because y'all know I love chicken and this and that. And then like four posts later, it's like, and then and I don't have the capacity for that. I don't enjoy stranger stories
Oh
visually
my
unless
God.
it's an actual production, which is why I prefer, like, I think the perfect example of where I'm at is like I prefer to read, like when it was old girl from uh shoot, damn it, now I can't think of the movie, but her tweets got turned into a movie, right?
Oh, you're talking about the
Yeah, that
girl.
joint.
I can't. I know all the actresses and
Correct,
actors in the
correct.
movie.
I'm like, I know all the actresses' names. I'm like, but I can't think of not Lola.
Okay.
Zola, yeah.
Zola,
So
yeah.
like reading that crazy thread was like, yo, this is wild. I can do this. Hearing Reese's Pieces talk about it, I'm not interested. I just
Boy,
can't, like,
and you're not.
is that her name?
Risa Tisa. Oh my gosh, she
Okay,
had.
tomato. um,
Listen,
but no, but
she
like, and
had
I'm
people
happy
on the
for her
rope.
because I feel like, people who were interested were like, it was so good. But I can't watch someone do things in their normal life while telling a story that I don't know. So
And I need the story.
putting on makeup, driving, eating while driving, putting the baby to bed. Like I just can't.
Now
That
I
feels,
can do it with a story attached.
no,
See,
it
one
feels
of the
too
reasons why I'm over Instagram is because it's just people doing their everyday shit with like music playing in the
Now that's
background.
also crazy. And I
I
also,
don't want to see anybody brushing their teeth. I don't
oh yeah,
care about your shower routine. Like
yeah.
that to me is nuts.
No,
And
I get what I'm with you there because I see pour cereal and on Snapchat, and each different Snapchat was like the bowl, the cereal, the milk. I was like, no, this is insane. Like, this is now we're insane. Like, now I feel like I'm in your house watching you, and that feels nuts to me. So I can't be involved. You know what I'm saying? I want you involved. I just want to hear what, but okay. But yeah, so I know that TikTok, it's funny, even last night I was out, speaking of TikTok, with a friend, and we were listening, they were playing some Kendrick song. I forget now, maybe Dodger Blue. And she was like, oh, shoot, yeah, there's a dance to this. I want to learn it. She's like, oh, shoot, TikTok is gone. Like, I can't learn the dance. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. It's like that.
Yeah, that I can actually do without on
That's because you don't like organized dance, line dance.
I don't like bad organized dancing. I am a girl with a dance background.
Okay, excuse me, Debbie Allen, you got it.
Listen, don't make me go back to my Philadelphia days. Okay?
No, I get it. No,
I don't like lazy dancing like this.
Ooh,
I don't even know what they're talking about when
those dances are. So it's interesting you say that. So I feel like TikTok is the line dance, the lazy line dance on social media. It's the Tamia line dance on social media, and it's fine. Like, unnecessary, too many steps, everyone's too hyped. It doesn't need to be this. It's just a slow song. Like, that song is not a dance. So,
no, I enjoy watching real dancers.
Of course, yes.
Like, if they're like the kids that came up with like, what's the Kita and, all the ones that like really took off because they actually have talent. Then I could watch all day. The big dance competitions from like all over are posted on TikTok, and I could watch those videos because they're actually entertaining and the dancing is really, really good.
Right.
But these kids who are just looking like they're 2 seconds away from dying while doing the dance moves, barely on beat. Like, I don't know.
But offbeat is the new rhythm. You know that.
No.
Offbeat is the new rhythm. You're not paying attention. That's what taught me.
That's where my auntie kicks in. I'm like, no.
Macarena dances to "How Do You Want It" by Tupac. I mean, it's the strangest, thing going on. I was like, what is this dance? This was Tupac, nor Casey, nor JoJo want people to dance like this to this.
Nobody asked for that.
Yeah.
But no, I just find once the algorithm does its thing over there, TikTok can really be an enjoyable experience. And everybody over there is so much nicer. If you look at the comments, oh my gosh, in comparison to what is happening on Instagram and your beloved Twitter/X, I don't play around with that app at all. People over there are miserable in comparison to.
I give you that.
The TikTok world. Everybody over there is like encouraging and like they'll check somebody who's just being like obnoxious or an ass for no reason. Like it's just a little bit more upbeat over there, even in the midst of somebody talking about their trauma. They somehow manage.
And nobody really goes
to make it upbeat.
Crazy. Because, I mean, look, speaking of comments, I don't know if we have not talked about this, but I since deleted it. But I made a comment in Threads about LA. And it wasn't the nicest things about LA. I was just kind of like, I was in my feels on Friday. I don't know why. I had just come from being out, and I'll tell you about that. I came home and I was just like, yo, LA is the loneliest city I've ever lived in. It's like, there's people that I've known for years that live here who I still haven't seen. And that just would never happen when I was in New York. That was the gist of the comment. Well, unbeknownst to me, I posted that and went to bed. So when I woke up and there was like 300 likes and like retweets, or not retweets, like, reposts, and then like people being like, yes, oh my gosh, like, this is what I've been thinking, this is why I left LA, like, he gets it,
So why did you delete it?
Oh, because then it was like, well, maybe you're terrible and that's why people don't want to hang out with you, or
No.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of people coming for me.
See what I mean?
And then people in the comments being like, no, that's not the case. Like, he's telling you what it is. Or people being like, you got to hang out with natives. I keep telling you all that. And then people were like, well, the natives don't want to hang out with us. So now what? It was starting to get a little wild. And I was like, nope, at least don't want to be a part of this. Like,
Wow.
nope, I don't listen. Because I'm not saying anything bad about I'm just saying this is my experience. I'm not saying that that's
Right.
LA sucks and don't come here. Like, I know I would never say that. Like, I'm here. Like, I just woke up the views. Like, I'm never going to say that. I'm just saying it's been an isolated city for me. But I feel like if I had made a 7-post version of this on TikTok, it would be a completely different energy. You know, it would be people like, yeah, well, you should try my recipe at this place.
Right. Exactly. They would have given you suggestions or
we should hang out, you know?
trying to do a meetup. But that's weird because that's also the same energy that I've gotten from Threads. Like when I jumped on Threads, it was very random. I think I was having like some downtime when I was in Philly because that's when I was doing it the most. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know how this happened, but all of my content is like so perfectly curated. Like I was only seeing things that I wanted to see. I was only seeing, posts from women who were feeling the same way that I was feeling about, the election and like, it was all of this stuff that was just like, I don't know, it just felt light and like there was no pressure to just jump in and like say something and people say something back. And I feel like that doesn't exist really on the other platforms. So I'm hoping that people don't come to Threads and start bringing all that toxic Twitter energy over.
Twitter catches stray.
Yeah, I feel like that F is so toxic. Oh my God.
I mean, it has levels, right? It had levels. Now I can't speak to it because most of the folks have left and it's because of Mr. Musty. But I think for me, like, yeah, Threads, I mean, I definitely see the remnants of all of it. And maybe it's just me. It might be, I told you algorithms is not a thing for me. I've yet to curate one enough or care enough to curate one enough. I always get fed the most ridiculous, random content, things that I would never need to have or want, but I think it's because of how many people I know and it's their content that comes into mind. So,
yeah, well, that's what Instagram does. And that's why I started.
No, but I have the same thing with TikTok because I'm like, there's no way, like, there's somebody whose content keeps coming up on my TikTok. I'm not going to say who because I don't want any smoke, but it's a person you really like. And I'm like, oh, this got to be because of Tristan. They can't be because of me because like I would never follow this person. You know what I mean? So, you said what?
Who is it?
I'm not doing that because at some point, no. And she got some flack. I'm not doing that. But we talked about her.
I had to think about who that could be. That is hilarious.
You know exactly who it is. At any rate, and I only say this because I feel like we're going to be friends in real life one day. So I don't want to mess up that connection. But there's somebody who, and I always get fed her content. And I was like, did I start following her and forget? Because, almost like that happens sometimes. But yeah, I always get fed the most ridiculous, non-relevant. I get Andrew Tate things, and I'm not looking at those. So like, that's what I'm saying. I just feel like it just never. They're like, oh, you have to. I was like, I don't have to do anything. I could just close the app, which is what I do. Like, I don't have to. Like.
How did your shit spiral into the world of Andrew?
Everything. Andrew Tate, like random women talking badly about men's. Like, those are like the the back and forth, the yin and yang.
That's because you watch that balloon popping mess. Mm-hmm.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Right. Talk about it.
That balloon popping, listen, which they made fun of.
You act like you're so above it all, and yet here you are.
Yo, balloon popping is actually hilarious. Yeah, they made fun of it on SNL last night.
I saw that. I was like, okay, old girl has officially made it.
Right. Yo, that's gotta be amazing.
What?
I
I
guess
know she was losing it.
no, for sure. But I know because like Keith Lee, they had made fun of him and he was like, they didn't do a good job. And I was like, oh no, they did.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know Keith didn't like it.
he was like, I don't talk like that. And I was like, sir,
Okay.
absolutely do talk.
Now, Keith, baby,
So,
listen.
because that like you definitely talk like that. Like that's
Tiny.
like that's it'd be different if they didn't some people don't get right. Like they didn't get Cat Williams right, and that's clear. That was fair. But you, my buddy, you, my friend, my chicken rating friend, they got it, and it's fine. Like,
Oh, yeah, no, they definitely went in their bag with that one. And although I do not care for that whole concept, I thought that it was really cool that she got big enough to the point where SNL is parodying her. Like,
yeah.
that's
But
pretty
because of the power of social media, right? Because even that, the fact that they're using, because they use that device a lot. They'll also do like TikTok, like you're scrolling through TikTok. That's one of their skits, and that's how like the Keith Lee of it all, and like the NPC stuff, which still scares me, and all that kind of stuff. Like they'll show that, which I think is dope.
Yeah, that is cool. Okay. Yeah, I just feel like TikTok and Threads, for me anyway, have done a really good job of working out an algorithm that works for me. And so maybe that's why I have a more enjoyable experience on those platforms than the other ones. I haven't been too happy with Instagram, honestly, ever since they changed the order of the post. Like, I am so tired of seeing something from yesterday followed by something from 4 months ago. Like, that just never sat right with my spirit. And I kind of checked out on Instagram from that point on.
Yeah. It's still my favorite app of the apps, but for me, it's the ads that maybe check out. The ads coming through, so many of them, I'm like, bruh, I don't need to see. And then it's the same ads. And I understand that that's how it works, but like, that's when I'm like, I can't do this. And then like, yeah, come to my party tonight that happened 4 days ago. And now I'm annoyed.
Right. Like, that's just so obnoxious. And that's the one thing that everybody was screaming from the mountaintops for them to fix or change or go back to. And they give, the view now of your home screen, like all the pictures are longer or some stupid shit that nobody.
Yeah, they did it left the line. I'm like, why would you do that? That's nuts. I think the long one they're trying to mirror the TikTok of it all. I think that's why they changed the orientation of it, but not that left the line. Left the line is nuts.
Nobody asked for any of it. Like,
don't ask for it. We just wanted our order, feed in chronological order. That's all we've asked for the last 3 or 4 years.
And loosen up on the damn censorship.
Okay.
Because that is so ridiculous on Instagram. I literally sent Heather, like, tagged me in a comment, and I responded with like, girl, I'm gonna kill you. And they flagged me.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, really?
Yeah, well, I guess on TikTok you would have to say, girl, I'm gonna grill you, because you can't talk like that.
Which is, oh my gosh, no, TikTok is absolutely
so I'm like,
unhinged.
If we're doing the censorship talk, it's like me like trying to curse. It's like everything, but it's like yes, like when you play like Boys in the Hood or something like that on Netflix.
On like BET or like
yeah. And it's like that is not what they said.
But at least TikTok is consistent.
Fair.
Because on Instagram, there are definitely things that come through that are crazy.
Oh, for sure.
But it seems like only a certain group of people can't get their shit through.
Talk about it.
I don't know, because I got beef with all of them, actually. I hate how dependent we've all become on these social media platforms. As much as I love people being able to make money off of it and monetizing their lives and doing whatever, I also hate that so many people have chosen that as a way to make a living, because ultimately, um, there are just weirdos who have the power over all of that, and ultimately have the power over your fate, your ability to pay your bill. Like, they went dark on TikTok playing games with people's livelihoods
Yeah.
for like some political bullshit.
Yep.
Meanwhile, there are people on that app who literally rely on checks from that app to live. And they've worked hard to get there. And so, like, just the fact that like some dweeb who knows code can sit around and play games with my money, I'm never, no, no. Mm-mm. Like, you build this whole world and you build this whole following, and you've done whatever yourself to get to that point.
Yeah.
And then some goofy who could never get a chick in high school comes along and decides he wants to play games and start shutting shit down or changing things, or like come on.
I'm the president now, or are you talking about TikTok?
I'm talking about all of them.
Okay.
Talking about every last one. They're all run by strange folks who power trip.
Yeah.
And now millions and millions and millions of people are, at their whim.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that. And that's why, as much as I've tried to be like, all right, let me do better. Let me post. Because when I do post, I get, my comments do numbers. Like, my posts are not,
you're better at social media than I am. I just do it more, but you have way more of a, people follow what you got to say. They like what you're talking about. Like,
but I don't have the commitment.
Yeah.
I don't have, I cannot and have not ever figured out how people live their lives and do the content thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't want my life to be content. Right. So now I have to actually curate content around certain subject matter and all the things. And then, that's just not something that I can be consistent with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I will make a comment and then literally not open that app for 2 days after.
Yeah.
Or, you know what I mean? Like, that's not something that I want to sit and have to think about all the time. And then I also don't really like all the exposure to strangers.
Yeah.
I start hitting a certain number of followers and I'm like, ugh.
And that's where I'm like, okay, I've been trying to get to 10K for the last 10 years.
Oh, that freaks me out. 10,000 people out there.
10,000. I have, like, one of my homies, shout out to Matt, he went viral recently, and he jumped like, I don't know, 16,000 followers in like 2 weeks or something crazy.
Oh my God.
And I was like, yo, bro. And I told him, I was like, you're going to go viral, because, like, again, like, talking about the research of it all, like, I can tell when people just have it. That's everything. Mm-hmm. For especially TikTok, that is an app that we see each other. Like, I don't like it. It doesn't like me. I don't do well over there. My numbers don't jump. But he was really good at it. And I'm like, yeah, you're about to go viral. And like, so I'm like, that seems wild. Like 20,000 people looking at my stuff seems crazy. Mm-hmm. And then the friends of mine who have gone to, like, he had like 6 million views on that one post. Like, I mean, it's like, that's wow. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's what it is, like, and so I don't know.
It's a wild world. It's a wild world. I hate a lot of it, but I do appreciate the good that comes out of it. And I just wish people would just leave it alone. Like, if we're gonna have it, like, just let us have it and leave it alone and stop doing weird things with it, please. Like, this is why we can't have nice things.
That's that you said a mouthful there. That we can't have nice things is like, a mantra, a lifestyle, words to live by.
Oh my gosh. It's just so crazy. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like social media is not a good place for somebody with my personality type. I think I can very easily look like something that I don't want to look like in the world of social media.
Mm.
And then also just the interaction, like the forced interaction, like what if somebody says something crazy? I'm not very good at not clapping back. Um,
Oh, yeah. See, that's where I was tempted to clap back when I was in my little threads thing that happened, but I find that it never, especially at this age. I was having a conversation with the other day. They were like, "You don't seem to like argue a lot," and I was like, "Well, I did that a lot in my 20s for sure."
yeah, I'm over it.
I'm over it. I'm like, if you feel that way, like unless it's something egregious, then I'll tend to like. But even like when I travel, right? I was traveling, I was in Cabo, and this dude was like, "I'm gonna say something I know you're not gonna like, but like I like Trump," and I was like, "Okay," like, and he was like, "Does that mean we can't be cool?" And I was like, "Bro, do you know Central Park 5?" He was like, "No." I was like, "Okay, so look at that, and then you ask me that question when you look at it." You know what I mean? Like,
Sir, I am on vacation, first of all.
okay, said we're not gonna be friends in general, but like for
We're
the sake of
not doing
conversation,
this.
sure. And then like I just learned, look, unless it's egregious, like I don't feel the need to prove my point or have you whatever. I never liked playing devil's advocate. Devil does not
Yeah,
even
that's the
that's
thing.
like none of that. No,
I'm
thank
not
you.
trying to convince anybody of anything.
You got it. You
One
have
thing
got it.
social media has taught me is that you're not changing anybody's mind
I
about it.
don't.
Everybody is here because they feel like what they have to say is important enough
Yep.
to spill it out to the world. And so, me trying to counteract points and going back and forth with somebody. I mean, when I was on the pandemic lockdown and had nothing else going on, really, I did
Sure.
all of that then. And afterwards, I was so exhausted and so drained that I shut down my old Instagram. I stopped dealing with Facebook altogether. I was never on Twitter, so I didn't have to worry about that. But like I just needed like a complete like detox from all of it. And I'm like, how do people do this shit all day, every day?
Mhm.
Like it exhausts me to have to do that. And because I also was doing that before social media. Like I've been schooling people since I was in elementary school. I don't have time for this anymore. Like
Come
let me
on and tell
go.
it.
Like I've been literally like, the only black girl in my class from kindergarten to freaking fourth, fifth grade. Yeah, I've had these conversations already. Like I'm done. So I don't know. I'm just tired. I just want to see people telling their stories in a good, interesting way,
Bonnet and
being a little
chicken in your hand,
fun.
and right, a
Yeah,
bonnet, fun chicken, front seat of the car, not going anywhere in the parking lot of a Ross for less or whatever. Sure. Yeah.
I can't. I can do without people eating while they're
And
that's
the
one thing that
crunch and
TikTok I'm like, oh, I'm
the
scrolling.
nails, oof, all that stuff gives me.
Yeah, the unnecessary noises, that is not my idea of good ASMR. I don't need it. I'm not listening to you tell a story while you're smacking on food. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that in real life. So I'm certainly not going to sit and force myself to do it on social media. So that's my only like real trend over there, other than the lazy dancing that really I'm just like I can really do without this. But other than
The
that,
worst is the stupid skits that obviously didn't start on TikTok, but they surely took it and ran with it. The give me my money and all that foolishness. That is all
you
TikTok.
know, to this day, I still have no idea what the hell that was. That was the first time that something on social media really made me feel old because I was like,
Really?
what am I missing here?
Not the crate.
Well, that was just people being stupid. I would have felt old seeing people do that if I was 12. Like, that was just dumb. But I'm saying like the trends and the things that start, popping that come out of the social media world, I'm usually able to keep up, know what the hell it means, and it's fine. That one, I was just like, what the hell is this? What
I
is it?
was so
It's supposed to be funny? What are we doing? There's nothing funny or entertaining about this. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I'm just missing it. And this is why
you're not missing anything.
your citizens or
It was
chicks going
fun.
through perimenopause shouldn't be on TikTok because I don't get this at all.
Well, as a man in his 50s, I can tell you that I was just like, yo, what is this? And like, stop doing this. I also don't like people embarrassing their parents on like, so then you got to take me out of it completely, right? Because like now I'm like, between stuff like that, between having your parents crying on screen because they got to like, I don't know. It's too invasive for me. I feel like that's free.
Yeah, that's all social media for me. It's a little too invasive. And I think that's why Instagram was that girl for me for a
Yeah.
long time because I was like, I appreciate the curated, filtered lives that people are posting over here. I don't want your reality. Like, I don't. I don't want that any more than I want to see celebrities out at the grocery store. I don't care.
Yeah. They're
Get a
just
dress
like us.
on.
Go to
Get
Whole
a,
Foods.
like, go, put a dress on, get on the red carpet and slay. That's what I want to see.
Yeah,
I
I
can
don't
look
want
at
to see it.
myself looking normal. That's not entertaining to me. So I do feel like Instagram gave me, more of the pretty side of life that I
For sure.
and appreciate so much more. TikTok is giving you bonnets in the bed. They keep it a little too real over there sometimes for me
Real
too.
for me.
But again, I've learned how to get my algorithm popping in such a way that I don't see a whole lot of that.
Hey, maybe
So
you should offer that as a service if you don't already. Because I'm like, maybe I should pay someone to make sure that my TikTok doesn't have, frogs dancing or like, you know what I'm saying? When people do the thing where there's the floating head and they're just watching a reacting video. Like I hate that. Like, so it's me. It's me. Actually, you know what? It's me.
it's definitely you. Definitely you. There's me, and there's my mom. It's always us. Like it's that I
Your
have
amigos,
like
that's it.
come
Yeah.
to accept. Yes, it's us.
Because I'm like, okay, everyone loves it, and I don't, so it's fine. All right. All right. Well, we'll take a little break here. When we get back, we'll talk about not TikTok, what we've been watching, what we're looking forward to seeing. And then I want to maybe dig into speaking of people saying the wrong things on social media. We got some conversations to talk about.
Oh yeah, we'll get into it. Don't even
So yeah, leave it there. Okay. I'll leave it there. I'll take it out.
Oh my
And
God.
part 8 of my TikTok, we'll really dive into what happened. But I'll take a little
No,
break.
you could never be Reese's Pizza, honey. Don't even try it.
You know what? You are absolutely right. That is 100% correct. And you know what? Shout out to her. I will for sure watch the adaptation of the story. It'll be my first time actually hearing it. I never watched it on TikTok, so
Wow.
I'm looking forward to that. We'll take a little break. We'll be back to talk about a little bit more. Okay, we're back. Now let's see. When we talked last, you had some things you needed to watch, and so I said you were gonna watch. So I'm curious to know what you've been consuming on the TV screen.
Well, as far as these award nominated flicks, I've
Yep.
only gotten through A Real Pain.
Okay.
Um,
Interesting wording there. Yep.
saw that on Hulu. Can we
Okay.
talk? Okay, real quick.
Yeah.
I need a new streaming situation for live TV. I have canceled Hulu.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah. And that's why I was trying to see like what is on here that I can hurry up and take advantage of because I think either tomorrow or one day this week, that's going to be gone.
Okay.
I have been so annoyed with the quality of that service that I can't even justify paying for it anymore.
Yeah.
Their service is terrible. Like when I say freezing, crashing, restarting, one day I was trying to get through something, Chris. I had to restart it 5 times.
I can't.
5 times. I was like, I cannot take this anymore. all they do is go up on price, and for every price hike, the service is worse than it was before.
The MTA.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
okay, this is already like doing too much as far as a bill is concerned for just TV watching. But, it is what it is. I'll give you the money, but not if I can't actually watch it. Like, what are we doing? So I was like, I can't take this anymore. This has to like have some other competition out there that is better than this. So I haven't looked into it yet, but I am done with them. Like I don't know what they have going on over there, but their system is just not systeming for me. So I don't know what else to do. I have the highest level
Yeah, I
of
know it's not your wife.
Wi-Fi. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do, but turning it on and having the thing, spinning for 10 minutes before it actually comes on, or just completely going dark in the middle of me watching something and me having to, start it over. It's no, it's too much. So I've been trying to get all I can out of them this past week
Yeah,
because
I
I
don't
think this
know.
week is it. And thank God they had a real pain on there.
Yeah,
So I
right in
was able to
there.
get through.
Okay. Well, first of all, I think maybe, I mean, yeah, maybe try. People say good things about YouTube TV. I don't know if that's something because they have live as well.
Oh, they do. Okay, maybe
They
I'll try.
do have live. It's funny. I have cable, but it's the strangest cable ever. It's like random channels that were assigned to me through some deal. So like I get certain channels and not the others. It's very strange. Anyway,
It's so weird. I haven't even had cable since I moved to LA.
oh, I love that. I definitely have. And
Yeah, I have too much PTSD from living in Philly and dealing
I
with
know.
Comcast.
I get it. Yeah.
So I'm over cable. Yeah, I'm done. It's streaming or I'm not interested. But
But yeah, so a real pain. Speaking of
yeah,
from where you watch it on to the actual movie, a
to
real
the actual movie.
pain.
Yeah. I don't even know why I need live TV, first of all, because I don't watch anything in real time.
Yeah, neither do I. Except for no, not even then. I was like, I used to watch like the news and stuff in real time, but that's when I lived on the East Coast. Now I don't really watch like the morning news like that. And
Mhm.
all these shows be on, Hulu the next day, which is when I have a chance to watch it anyway. So I'm not like sitting down and watching Abbott Elementary live. Like, like I
No,
could.
me neither. No, I literally have days that I watch TV. Like
Yeah,
throughout the week, my TV is not even on. So there's no reason for me to be all in when it comes to live TV, but I certainly won't be paying for live TV that I can't see. It's one thing for me to choose.
right, right, right.
But
Yep.
anyway, so yeah, so I saw A Real Pain. Okay, so it was a good film.
Hmm.
It was well done.
Yeah.
But it definitely is one of those movies where I find the characters to be annoying.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, Kieran, God love him, but he's just so high energy and so like, I don't know. He's a lot.
The title is clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
For many different things. I mean, I feel like I definitely have that character, and I've hung out with that character before in real life. I feel like out of those two, I'm definitely more Jesse Eisenberg than Karen was. Karen was. Like you're trying to help somebody out, but like they're and the one that everyone loves, like like all that kind of stuff. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, sorry, go ahead. So it annoyed you a little bit, or the characters annoyed you. You said,
It did. I also I will have to see the other people nominated in
his category.
category. Yeah, to see if he really should be getting what he's getting for this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's so funny. He's definitely the guy right now, right? Like, and he has a certain type of role that he does very well. Uh,
Mhm.
and it's funny when you look at his IMDb, it says, I mean, Wikipedia, it says known for playing. What is it? Hold on, I want to get it right. It says known for portraying distasteful yet sympathetic characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that is very like, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
That,
But yeah, so I'm looking at the what he was again. So I mean, it's kind of wild because he was up against Denzel Washington in the Gladiator too. So
see what I mean? And
there's
I don't want to be
yeah,
that girl because I
yeah.
haven't seen
But I mean, Edward
Gladiator.
Norton, Guy Pearce, Jeremy Strong, like Yura Borisov from Honora, like these are pretty strong performances. So it is a little wild. I think out of these, I've only seen one other film. But yeah, interesting. Anyway, okay. Sorry.
I'll have to see the rest. I'll
Yeah.
have to see the other films to see if that performance was that, exciting or worthy in comparison to the other ones. But it was a good watch.
Yeah.
I'm trying so hard not to be shady.
No, just say no. Listen, you gotta.
I don't know. I feel
You
like
not like it?
it's not that I didn't like it. I don't think it's award worthy though.
Oh, I see. Okay. I feel that. I'm only laughing because when you're like, no, I don't like it, it reminds me of that clip of Oprah eating that chicken and it didn't have any seasoning.
Well, actually, that's a pretty good comparison.
It's not that I don't like it. It's just, like I just need a little flavor, a little salt, a little something. Yeah,
Oh, God.
I hear that. But it's always a film every season that's like, was this really that? But it's that, it's very much a critic's choice, like very simple film that they throw in there every year. So I feel that.
Yeah.
It's definitely not my favorite film I've seen, or even in the top 5 of the films I've seen this year. So
yeah, I can see that not being in anybody's top 5, and it's fine. It was cool for what it was.
mm-hmm.
But I did watch this other movie from back in the day
Mm-hmm.
that I am so confused as to why I've never seen this movie before.
Oh, it was your first time seeing it. Okay, copy. Okay.
I'm talking about Wicker Park.
Okay. That sounds like a neighborhood around here, but okay.
It's in Chicago. It's actually,
Okay. It actually is okay, word. Okay.
Real park in Chicago, yeah. And that's where the movie is based. But I remember this movie being talked about back in the day. It came out in like 2004. So we're talking about a 20-year-old film here.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Wicker Park being talked about. And then somehow I never got around to actually seeing it. Because when I watched it, I was like, okay, I've never really seen this before. Like I thought when I turned it on that it was going to be something that like when I turned it on, it would click to me like, oh yeah, I remember this.
Mm-hmm.
But it was my first time seeing it and it was so good.
Yeah, okay.
It was so good. Okay, so don't be mad at me.
This is my. Let me get the. I want to get a soundboard, but like I feel like we're not. I don't want it to come off cheap.
Yeah.
That's where I would press the like spoiler alert. Like I feel like that's coming. I feel like you're about to tell me the entire film. But okay, let's go for it. Yep.
Right, listen. The movie is 2 decades old. The jig is up. Like either you're gonna watch it or you're not. I'm gonna have to give you.
You just watched it. You just seen it, and it's 2 decades old. What if someone had told you about it? Would you have still watched it? You probably still would have.
I probably would have. Yeah, I probably would have still watched this one.
Go for it. Let's do it. Wicker Park.
It's a little bit of like a mind fuck at first because I was like, what is going on here? But then it starts to, make more sense. But it's Josh Hartnett, Diane Kruger, Rose Byrne, and Matthew Lillard are the main characters.
Okay.
And well, the actors playing the main characters, rather. And Josh Hartnett meets this girl, falls in love with her, wants to move in with her, And then she meets another girl who she becomes friends with. And this girl is a certified weirdo. And she becomes friends with this girl, knowing that the dude that she's with is her dude.
Mm.
The big thing is that she is secretly in love with this guy. Poor
Okay.
Diane Kruger's character, she's like the girlfriend, whatever. She doesn't have a clue who this girl really is. She's just thinking she's a cool girl. They end up like staying together for a little bit before the Diane Kruger character goes off. She's like a dancer or something. She has this opportunity to go and dance or do something in Europe. And she tells Weirdo Girl, played by Rose Byrne, to give Josh Hartnett's character this letter because she hasn't been able to tell him, like, I need to go, but when I come back, I want it to be me and you. We can move in together, blah, blah, blah. So, of course, Weirdo Girl doesn't give him the letter.
Mm.
And she now is like all a part of his life and, pretending that she's somebody that she's absolutely not. Meanwhile, she's actually dating Matthew Lillard's character, who is Josh Hartnett's character's best friend.
Oh, goodness.
So she's going back and forth. They don't know this yet, mind you. She's going back and forth playing these two completely different people, all because she's obsessed with this guy. And so the whole, movie is basically this crazy situation unfolding. I feel like that's a good way for me to tell you what it's about without actually.
No, I'm with that. Yeah.
Okay.
See, and ladies and gentlemen, that is how you tell a story or a synopsis of a film without spoiling the film. You didn't say.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty good at this.
Yeah, you're good. You should teach a class on this. Maybe put it on TikTok. Because it's like, because it's not like you were like, and then it's crazy because at the end when such and such happens, it's like, what?
Yeah, no, I'm not going to give away the end, but if you get a chance to find it, I honestly do not remember.
So what did you watch it on? Do you remember?
Yeah, I don't remember. Wait, it definitely was not Netflix. It could have been our girl Tubi.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Let me see. Let me see where this is at.
Tubi. They got everything and nothing all at the same time.
Tubi is getting the Super Bowl, so.
Right. I saw that. I was like, look,
listen.
Tubi got it. Tubi got it. Like,
they are doing their thing. So, okay, it definitely was Tubi. So, for free. It's on Apple TV, but you'd have to pay for it over there.
Okay.
But it's also on Pluto TV and Amazon Prime Video for free. So,
nice. Okay.
And I believe Amazon Prime is probably going to have it without commercials. So you might want to start there because will definitely give you commercials. But yeah, that movie was really good. So I walked away from that thinking, how have I never seen this before? But it was cute. It was really, really cute. Other than that, I was just, I had to work this weekend. And so I just kind of had either no TV on or mess on in the background. But I did manage to take a little break and get through those two films. And I will be sure to add more of the current stuff.
Okay. I mean, or not,
Before we get, I haven't told Oscars.
Yeah,
so
you have time. Like I didn't really watch anything. I didn't watch any more films because I was like, okay, I feel like I need a little break. But I did watch The Day of the Jackal, that series.
Oh yeah,
I believe, and that is really good.
Really?
That was like I was very much into it. I think because first it's Eddie Redmayne and Lashana Lynch, so like already I was like, yep, I'm into it. I'll watch it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I always think it's interesting. Obviously, this guy is like let me see if I can do as good job of you telling the story without telling the story. But this guy's like a hired contract killer, basically. And Lashana Lynch is trying to find him, right? So it's that kind of cat and mouse
Oh
thing.
my gosh. Okay, I remember this.
Mm-hmm.
Never watched it, but
Yeah, like you've
definitely
seen
remember seeing like trailers for it and promos for it. Okay, this is from a couple years ago though, right?
Oh, I think it's this year. I think it's this year because there's only one season. Only one season. I mean
A
that.
Mandela effect moment because I feel like I remember this show from like years ago for some reason.
Oh, I mean, there's hobby shows that are very much like it. It's also a book, so maybe you read the book. But yeah, it started streaming in November. So
Yeah, 2024.
yeah,
Wow.
but yeah, no, that had my attention. The last, I mean, it's 10 episodes and I finished it since we last talked. So that's about right. But that's a good watch for sure. And I feel like he is deserving of the noms that he's gotten for that role.
Okay.
So shout out to him and shout out to Lashana Lynch. And it's just overall a dope series. So that's the only thing I've watched that was we talked about as far as nominations. Then I've been watching like the shows have come back on. So High Potential is back from its break.
I'm all caught up there.
Started watching that and found and what else I watched? Law and Order, of course, SVU that came back.
Yes, that's finally back.
Like never gets old to me. Same old stories, same old actors, different people.
So almost 30 years in, and I'm still here for it.
Care, yeah, man. So yeah, so that's kind of the only things I've been watching. Up next is I do need to see The Last Showgirl. That's like the next film I want to see. But and this other film, which I guess we should talk about, One of Them Days. That is on my radar. I self admittedly am not wild about buddy comedies like that.
Oh gosh.
It's never been because I get I learned this word on TikTok, anxiety, when I watch things like that where people make certain decisions and there's a certain outcome that has to happen. Like
it's like one crazy thing after
but like those things they're not enjoyable for me. I usually end up being like, that was dumb, or like why would you do that? So I tend to not watch that type. But I want to support Issa and Sarita and I was about to say her real name, and SZA and Kiki and even like folks that come out of the apps. Your homie TikTok and like Janelle James and like all of the people who like this is like their first film. Which I think it's her film. Like it's dope. So I want to go see it.
I definitely think it's cool that they included so many like new people from the social media realm. I know that there's this guy that I follow. I think his name is Josh. He's like the main guy in it.
Yeah, Joshua Neal.
Yes.
Shout out to him. He's from the Bay.
He's from where?
From the Bay Area.
Yes, he is. He definitely is. And I've been following him for a little bit. I think I originally found him on TikTok too.
I think that's where he started. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was really funny over there. And so to see him now, and I knew he was like taking a break. Like he had made like this post where he was like, yeah, I'm taking a break to like work on some other things. And was just like thanking everybody for like following him. And now it's making sense that he was probably off working on this. So I think that it's really cool that he made it to being in an actual film, because I know that was like a goal of his. But this movie's been getting some good feedback.
Yeah, the reviews have been good.
The reviews have been good. Rotten Tomatoes is like damn near at 100% with it. It looks cute to me. It looks like it's gonna be a good time as far as like, from the days of Friday and
yeah, it feels very much in that, even the way it's shot, like even the color correction of it.
And I don't think we've ever had a movie like this with women.
No, I can't. No, I don't. I don't
I
think so.
can't I can't think of a movie where it's like two black women are the buddies, quote unquote.
Yeah, because that was also a conversation happening on X, like where the black female led kind of comedy or coming of age kind of stories. Yeah,
Well,
it doesn't exist. So
Issa has entered the chat because
that's,
I feel like she's the queen of
yeah,
that whole concept. If anybody's gonna do it, I feel like she's the one. So
agreed. And yeah, look, we're gonna go see it.
yeah, I definitely think we
We're
should
gonna
see
go
it.
see it. I'm probably gonna see it, and this is not a sponsored plug because we don't got sponsored yet, but I'm probably gonna see the Alamo Draft House because that is my favorite theater to see movies in, particularly movies that may have people talking in them. Fun fact, I don't do talking in movie theaters. So that's the
Yeah,
part
I'm not a fan.
I'm not a fan.
Which is why I watch things at home because
Correct. Yeah,
if I'm
yeah.
gonna talk, I'm gonna talk and annoy
Right.
myself, not
Right.
everybody
Yeah.
else.
I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna like, and I watch it like we know we watch movies together and stuff like that, but they're usually like something ridiculous that we can like laugh about after, But like,
Mhm.
I don't anyway. So I do want to go see it. I will go see it. Shout out to them, everyone involved in that film. I'm happy that folks are working and doing something. And shout out to Issa for again, like she going for it. She's
I
really
love it.
stories, stories, and I think that's dope.
Yeah. So we have that coming up, and then we have a little further down the line. I think these are like some things that are just still in like conversation stage
Yeah.
or reproduction stage, but I know that I've read that Serena Williams and Ruth E.
Mhm.
Carter,
Yes.
costume designing guru
Yep.
from I was about to call it Wakanda, Lord, from Black Panther.
Ah,
And going all the way back to Do the Right Thing. So she is working on a biopic with Serena Williams about the designer Anne Lowe.
hmm.
I think is going to be amazing for all the fashion girlies and guylies out there. For those of you who do not know who Anne Lowe is, she is a very important and often forgotten fashion designer, Black fashion designer who is known for making Jack wedding gown. So she was really, really big back in the days of, the 50s and, all the women who had the means at that time were wearing Ann Lowe. And somehow throughout the course of fashion history, I wonder why, but she got lost. And so people are finally starting to, give her flowers. And so I would be so excited to see a biopic about her. I mean, she's the only Black designer to have dressed a first lady during that time. Like that was
Mm-hmm.
so unheard of for that time period. So I know that that's going to be a good one. I'm really looking forward to that. And then they are talking about a Britney Spears biopic.
Yes, yes. So yeah, well, so apparently the film title for the Ruth Carter and Serena Williams one is called The Dress.
Mhm.
But yeah, I just wanted to say that. But yes, Britney Spears biopic based on obviously her autobiography that came out last year, which I enjoyed reading, even more enjoyed listening to because Michelle Williams, not from Destiny's Child, but the Michelle Williams actress,
Right.
the voice on that, and so that was hilarious hearing her say for shiz. But I can't wait. John Chu is set to direct it, who's done Crazy Rich Asians and Wicked, just to name a few. Yeah, I
So the
can't.
quality for that will be there for
Oh
sure.
yeah, the musical numbers are going to be insane. The recreation of those. I think seeing Justin dragged in 4K is going to be amazing. I can't wait. Sign me up. I'll be there at every
Andrew.
Alamo, Lowe's, Chinese Man's Chinese Theater, wherever they're playing it, I'm gonna be there.
I care. No, that's gonna be a good one. That's gonna be a good one. What else is going on? Oh,
but no,
no, what were you about to say? Because I think we're about to say the same thing.
There's one film that I do want to see that I think is out now. That I did want to talk about is this Unstoppable film. About
that?
So that is it's Jarrell Jerome and our good friend Jennifer Lopez. But it's based on this wrestler who was born with one leg.
Oh my God, how have I heard of this?
Yeah, it's kind of been under wraps. Like I feel like it's been talked about, but not enough. I think also, given her personal life, she wasn't able to probably promote it in the way that she should have or could have. But yeah, anyway, that's out. I think that's on Amazon Prime. But yeah, he ends up being this like phenomenal wrestler, and yeah, she plays his mother. Jennifer plays his mother. Joe Jerome is the actor who plays the wrestler. Don Cheadle's in it.
Yeah, I'm looking at this line. I'm like, Don Cheadle, Bobby Cannavale. Like, how did this? Yeah. I don't know. I'm literally just hearing about this right now. Yeah. So,
so that's one that I really want to watch.
Yes.
So yeah, that was my addition. But okay, yeah, go ahead. You can tell us what else.
Nice.
Because you're right. We might be on the same page there.
No, I was just going to mention that A Different World is coming to Netflix. So.
Yes. Oof.
I feel like I'm all set.
It better stay too, because I feel like it was on Hulu at one point and then left. And I was like, bruh, like we need this show to be on Netflix in streaming forever. The way that Golden Girls is on Hulu forever, or the way that Sex and the City now or Insecure on Netflix. Like we need to be able to stream this whenever, wherever, right? So
I think Max. I think HBO Max has it.
Yes, that's correct. You're right. They do.
If I'm not mistaken. I think they're the only ones that still have it left. So it coming to Netflix, I think, is going to open it up to even more people, because I know it's going to be trending.
Oh, for sure. Well, no, here's the first question about that. Because I like to rewatch shows. I think you're the same way, and Lord knows I've done it for shows mad times. But do you recommend / are you going to watch the first season of?
No.
Oh.
These are kind of a different world. Listen, everybody knows. Everybody who's about that different world life knows that season 1 was a bit of a dub.
Yeah.
But we got to get into that. Okay, wait, we need to take a break. We need to get into that.
Okay, yeah. Let's take a little break, and then we'll get into the different world that really starts at season 2, but season 1 is suggested watching. All right, cool. We'll take a little break. We'll come back. All right, yeah, let's talk about different world. So wait, we were talking about, obviously, well, let me tell it. You can skip the first and the last season of Different World, but don't listen to me.
Who doesn't know how it ended? That's crazy. But no, the first season, I think, so somebody posted on Threads saying, like, unpopular opinion, because we love those, because they're never that unpopular.
Exactly.
They're like, unpopular opinion, you can skip the first season of A Different.
Jeez.
And I'm like, not if you're watching it for the first time.
Correct.
If you've seen it a million times the way that we've seen it a million times, absolutely. Yeah. But I think if you're just getting around to watching A Different World, you kind of have to include the first season just to see how we got to everything else.
Yeah.
And, for anyone out there who's too young or perhaps of another cultural persuasion and you don't know what A Different World is, it is the spinoff of The Cosby Show,
Yeah.
where Denise Huxtable goes off to Hillman College, which is a fictional college, but it is an HBCU, historically Black college, kind of modeled after, your Howards and Hampton universities and, all that good stuff. So, and it's also where Claire and Cliff went to school. So, and their parents, I think,
Yeah.
the dad, the grandpa,
Yep.
Cliff's dad also went to Elman, I think. So yeah, so Denise is like a legacy kid, and she goes there, and this show is supposed to be about her college life.
Right.
Well, season 1 was cute, but it definitely did not have the flavor of
No.
what I would think is an HBCU experience.
Yeah.
And so I think that was kind of obvious to the audience as well. And so after season 1, they switched things up a little bit.
Mhm.
And one of the things that they switch up is the people behind the scenes. And I think that's when Debbie Allen comes on board to get those episodes together, because season 1 is it's Denise or Lisa Bonet. Marissa Tomei is
Right.
one of the only white students there, so she got her start. That's pretty much where I first saw her.
Yep.
It's crazy. But you had that. You had the Jaleesa character, who is like a little older. She's been through some things.
Is that fact? I want to make sure that, and I won't make sure, but like I was always sure if she looked older and that's what it was, or she was actually.
No, Jaleesa was actually older. She was a student who was coming back to school from like being married and divorced and the whole thing.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, she was meant to be a little bit older than everyone else.
Perfect.
And then you had Dwayne Wayne. By Kadeem Hardison, and then you had his friend Ron.
Yep.
Ron Johnson, played by Daryl M. Bell, who
love an initial in their name. Yeah.
Yeah, they got to have the initial. And then fun fact about him, he has been with Tempest Bledsoe in real life.
Crazy.
For decades. I don't think they're actually married, but they've been in a relationship and have children together and all that good stuff. And I feel like they've been together for like literally over 20 something years. So
yeah, they've been together since 93.
Oh God, that is wild.
So crazy. They've been together since 93. Yep. So
that is so crazy.
Oh wait, 10 years apart? Yikes. Okay.
How many years?
10 years.
Oh wow. Okay. Didn't know that. So yeah, so that's the whole like Cosby different world, metaverse, if you will. But that first season was, it was cute. I remember being excited that Lisa Bonet was getting her own show because I was obsessed with her back in the 80s.
Yep.
Like style wise, I just felt like she was everything. Like, I loved Denise Huxtable. So when she was getting her own show, I just remember like being excited about it, and everybody who loved the Cosby Show being excited about it. And we watched and we enjoyed, and it was just cool to see this show about, all these Black people in college, because we hadn't seen that before. And I know that so many people will tell you that A Different World was what inspired them to like really want to go to college, and specifically an HBCU.
Yeah. Yep.
So this was more than just a TV show for a lot of people. It was like truly inspiring to see this whole world. But there were some things that made the first season a little uh, a little lackluster.
Okay. Starting with the theme song? Okay.
It just, I'm not doing this.
That first season theme song was not it. I don't know what happened. I don't know how it missing. It was
Oh God.
that
I think John Lewis wrote that theme song.
Yeah, her apparently Bill Cosby produced it, which is wild. But yeah, no, the song itself obviously had the bones. It just needed like some soul, and maybe to your point,
Yeah.
the season it needed a bit more soul. It was giving like PWI, it wasn't giving like, black college like in the late 80s, early 90s, like, you know what I mean? So yeah, okay. So sorry.
I think a lot of that too might have also been, Bill's influence. I know that there are shows that talk about like the behind the scenes of this and like, all the things. So I'm just kind of gathering things from shows that I've seen about a different world in the past. And I feel like I remember them saying, that early season was, they had a lot of white writers and stuff going on behind the scenes where the people behind it didn't really understand the experience of what they were writing about.
Yeah.
And I think, Bill might have been a little out of touch with that as well, because that man did not go to any college, let alone a black one. So, yeah, the degrees from Temple are honorary for anybody who does not know that. But anyway, and subsequently taken away. But anyway, we're not
sorry.
Right. So, I think it was very smart of them to pull somebody in who actually attended a black college or black university. And that's where you have Debbie Allen, who had the whole Howard thing going on. So I don't know. She brought something to that show that just kicked it all the way up. And so by season 2, I feel like that's when you really start getting into, what that show is about. I mean, sadly, at that point, Lisa Bonet's gone, right? I think did she do 2 seasons or just that first one?
She just did that first one.
It was just that first one, because was that when she got pregnant with Zoe, I think? There was like a whole thing about.
I thought it was, I remember her getting in it. She did like some, not porn, Lord Chris. She did like some movie where there was like a nudity.
Yeah, she did Angel Heart.
Angel Heart. And I feel like that.
So it was something. Yeah. So it was either the Angel Heart, that like the raciness of her role in that movie, or her getting pregnant with Zoe and the whole thing, because
it was
Lenny Kravitz and her were a thing back then, and she had Zoe Kravitz and all that, and Bill was just like, absolutely not, like, you're not doing this, and then coming and being a character on my wholesome show. So she went on her way, and then all the other characters that were kind of supporting became main. So that's when Whitley showed up and took that role that really was meant to be the lead for Lisa Bonet. And then, Dwayne's character pops in and starts, being more of a, like, he was like the little geeky kid when it first started. And, now he's coming into his own. And it just, I don't know, people who come from certain backgrounds have, I think, more of a heartfelt moment or the warm and fuzzies about a different world, because it like I said, it just shows a part of African American life that just wasn't really being depicted at the time. Now, I come from a family of people who went to college. So, it was, the idea of it was not that new to me, even though I do come from the inner city. But there were a lot of people who were just like, I didn't think college was a thing for me until this show came around.
Yep.
And so when I hear people like Jaleel White
Oh.
talking about how, Family Matters didn't get its just due because, we only wanted to watch shows about Black people being in the ghetto. Honey, were you there at the time? Like, what? Like, maybe he was too young to recall.
No, if he's too young, how we remember it? No shade to us, but like,
I mean, because we were watching. Maybe he was too in it. Maybe he was too in his own program and what he was doing.
Of the 6 roles he had to play, every week on Family Matters. Look, that is insane. I mean, as a person who grew up in the suburbs, right? Who also was inspired by different worlds to go to college, despite what my family have gone to college, obviously, and my dad went to HBCU at that. But still, there was still something at that age. I remember thinking like, obviously everyone wanted to go to Hillman, and we found out Hillman wasn't real. It was like, damn. But yeah, the idea that I don't know, that the Jaleel White of it all, I was hoping that it was like a misquote or that it was something completely taken out of context, as happens on social media clips and so forth.
Right.
However, that was not the case. I mean, he's tried to backtrack now because, the folks, read him for what the internet calls filth. But,
Mm-hmm.
and rightfully so.
Yeah, because it just wasn't true.
It wasn't true. I mean, I could see if the thought was, no, actually, no. I would say I could see if like the thought was, maybe folks didn't like the show because they preferred other shows, which is fine. I could see the thought of it being like, oh, as related to the others, like people didn't relate to him because he wasn't hood or whatever. Like I could see maybe that, but that's not it, because I feel like there was a lot of different types of shows, different types of Black experiences on TV at that time.
Absolutely.
And I don't feel like it was. I feel like the movies that were TV shows that were quote unquote hood or ghetto or whatever you want to use, adjective, were like purposely that way and didn't last. It'd be like South Central, that show, or like
right, which were shows that were basically trying to eat off of what was happening in the movie industry during that time. Because in the movies,
yes.
It was like, Boys in the Hood, like everything was kind of like a hood movie.
Yes.
But TV was giving us a little something different.
For sure.
And I don't understand how he missed that. Because he named like shows that are not hood shows.
Right.
Like Living Single?
Yeah.
Sir.
I mean, I guess is the thinking like because it took place in Brooklyn and Brooklyn is considered, inner city. I hate those terms, Lord.
And first of all, the problem is this. People keep conflating like inner city with these stereotypes about, ghetto life. And, they have this like really like monolithic view about what that means. And as somebody who comes from the quote unquote hood, I promise you, my upbringing and life in that hood was not ghetto. You know what I mean? It was not this, hard knock life that everybody thinks of when they think about growing up in certain areas. Yeah. And so something can be urban.
Sure.
This is what happens when you think urban and ghetto are synonymous. They're not.
Yeah.
They're absolutely not. So were these shows that he mentioned urban? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But these people were working, upwardly mobile Black folks in these shows.
Yeah, there was no like Nobody was a hustler. Nobody was like, I mean, like they lived in that brownstone,
A fabulous brownstone,
that
mind
was
you.
brownstone that I think Loki someone was like her parents or somebody owned the brownstone and like so I think also like even that like it was like yeah she had roommates but that was for purposes of the show, like the device of the show and like your
And
girl.
that also made sense for their age. You have to understand, like, those characters back then were all in their mid-20s.
Yep.
So
So that was a very New York.
that was a New York thing. Yeah. Like that's how you probably would have been living
Yeah,
back then.
that's exactly. Even when I moved to New York in the mid 2000s, like most of my friends had roommates, plural.
Mhm.
Like so, like that wasn't crazy. But yeah, they all worked. I mean, Khadijah was an entrepreneur. Max was a lawyer. Like Kyle was a stockbroker. Like these were folks that were making the dollars. You know what I'm saying? Like
These folks, and not only that,
fire. Like the folks were doing things.
they were doing things, and not only that, but the writing, the content, has he seen an episode of Living Single?
Maybe he hasn't.
It's so that show was so smart. That show was like, I don't know what he's watching. And then, you have Martin, but Martin was purposely playing on certain tropes that, you know what I mean? Like his thing was kind of like, yes, these are certain elements of, Black urban/ghetto life.
Yeah.
But he did it in such an exaggerated, like it was so purposely over the top and crazy and just, supposed to be like that. But behind that, you had a DJ with a #1 radio show.
Yeah.
Dating a marketing executive. Like, what are we talking about as far as these hood stories that he
yeah
that he thinks we overlooked Family Matters for?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Mr. Cooper is a hood story. Like, what are we talking about, sir?
I mean, look, here's just what it is. Well, first of all, I feel like Family Matters wasn't as good as those other shows. I mean, that's just what it is. It just wasn't as good. It has nothing to do with hood anything. It was just not as good. It was a bit on the cheesier side. It was not a bit. It was on the cheesier side. It skewed to a certain audience. It was a different time of that TGIF Friday, that TGIF was a completely different story than a Thursday night 9:00 slot, or 8:30 slot. So
No, not to cut you off, but think about the difference in the networks.
Right.
That these shows were on. ABC had a completely different situation going on than what the good folks at Fox Network were doing.
Yeah.
Fox was giving out checks to Black creators like gangbusters, okay? You had an idea and you were a Black creative.
Yeah.
ABC wasn't about to let you have your way.
No.
Which is why Keenan Ivory Wayans and the good cast of In Living Color found their way over there at Fox and in the #1 slot.
Right. Exactly. And it's like, so for Jalil first of all, Family Matters had ridiculous storylines that deal with quote unquote hood things. A girl being shot over sneakers, him playing a random supposed street dude OG with a crazy wig. Like, so they just didn't execute on their said hood stories. You know what I mean? So that's the first part.
Oh, no, they did. They did. What they did, though, was they made them digestible for the audience.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. That was hood, easily digestible for the predominantly white ABC audience that was watching that whole TGIF lineup.
But
you're coming on after the Tanners, for crying out loud.
Right. Yeah. Yep. I guess for me, I guess you're right. I guess for me, what I'm saying is that like it always came off like, I mean, I always felt like Family Matters for like an after school special. No matter what episode you watched, it was something of that nature. Whereas like Living Single, Martin, and I think the other show he mentioned was like I think it was like 3 shows, but A Different World, right? Which is what we're talking about. Like those shows like really impacted the way that I moved around as an adult, you know. So Family Matters did not do that for me.
No.
Like
No.
sans maybe dancing in the middle of the school dance, which I definitely did, and it's definitely a storyline on. I never had to walk on a tightrope to get between buildings. You know what I'm saying? Like, no one in my high school was shot over sneakers. I had a crush on an alternate version of a person that annoyed me. There was never a robot that came to my, like these were not things that I experienced personally, but maybe it's because I lived in Connecticut. Maybe other places people experience robot versions. And
well, if it was going to happen anywhere in these United States, those shenanigans would be happening in Connecticut.
Don't do that. What you want to do is shade Connecticut.
Those were very New England antics. Those were not Southside Chicago situations. No, but
for surely not. But yeah, so I just felt like, I think he definitely. I feel like Stephen Urkel, aka Jaleel White, or Jaleel White, aka Steve Urkel, depending on how you want to mix it. I feel like he doesn't feel like he got the love and notoriety that a Sam Martin did.
Correct. Yeah, he doesn't get brought up in the conversation.
And I think that is a fair statement for him to say, right? But I don't think it's because of said subject matter. I just think that that role always skewed a particular type. It was also like, but he also was beloved in some way. There was a Steve Urkel doll. Like, hello. There was no Shanae doll that I recall. There was no.
It should have, but
honestly, right? But there wasn't, right? Like
yeah, for sure. He was a pop culture phenomenon. Like, I think the problem though is exactly what you said when we're talking about shows from the past with Black leads that had an impact on the culture. We're not bringing up Family Matters. No. And it's fine. Like it did what it was supposed to do at the time, which was fill that missing, space of Black families on that lineup of those shows that were being shown at the time.
Yep.
It was the show was definitely not called The Tanners, but that's the name of the family. But it was Full House. There you go. Yes, Full House.
Tanner sounds like good. But yeah.
But they all had like Full House, Step by Step.
Strangers.
Yeah, they all had that little moment where you learn the lesson and the music softens in the background, and it's there was a formula there.
Yeah,
the formula there, and it was cute. It was cool. It was supposed to be, wholesome and, all those things. But as a family dynamic situation is concerned, I couldn't relate to any of those shows. And I still watched them and enjoyed them.
Right.
I was still here for it.
Sure. I watched it religiously, right? Every Friday I watched Family Matters. I believe I taped Family Matters. I'm sure there's some VHS of me taping Family Matters because, you want to watch back the episodes. Like it was definitely something I consume. Now, as an adult, man, I cannot get through that show. It's so bad. But
it's really child. It's for kids. That show, when you look back at it, you're like, I had to be 8 years old to enjoy this.
Like, whoa, this show is bad. But oh yeah, it has all the things I hate in a show, and it's all there. Yeah, hijinks, like buddy comedy hijinks and wrong decisions made. Annoying children actors. I mean, it's like all the things, like, oh my gosh.
A guy who doesn't get a clue that somebody doesn't like him, because that's where I checked out. But
yeah. And a guy who has a girl who's better than the girl he's interested in and is still going for that other girl. Definitely checked out of that.
Shout out
to no, not ready for that.
Myra?
Okay. Yeah, Myra. Yeah, Myra. Yep. But yeah, no, it's unfortunate that he feels that way, because I think that Jaleel White, again, as an actor, much like Alfonso Ribeiro, who like was never able to get out of those roles, right?
Yeah.
Like Alfonso Ribeiro, I think he had said like he feels like he was punished for doing a good job as an actor.
Mm.
Other people, he's never been able to get work again because everyone sees him and they see Carlton, right?
Right.
Even though he's a grown adult, you know. Whereas like other people can play funny roles, like even Martin. Like Martin wasn't just, I mean, obviously he was the head of it, but he wasn't just stuck to that. He's done other stuff since then. He
went on to be a huge movie star.
You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't have to be, and even the actors in that, like Tashina Arnold had stuff after, you know what I mean? Like they were able to
work into this day, yeah.
Work after this, particularly that cast, I think probably worked the most.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is a cast full of, first of all, Martin is an actual comedian. We have to remember how he got the show in the first place. Martin was a stand-up comedian. So his popularity as a comedian led to him getting a show. He was surrounded by talented actors who were child actors.
Yeah.
Tashina Arnold, Carl Anthony Payne, and Tisha Campbell were child actors. So they've been in the game a long time. They knew what to show up with and, you know, had been doing their thing for years. So these were not people that were just trying to figure it out, you know? So they came together and realized that the tide was shifting in American culture, where our influence as Black people was starting to become more mainstream.
Yeah.
This is when we find out that white kids were consuming rap music at an alarming rate.
Yep.
This is when we start seeing, you know, the suburban kids wanting to emulate the inner city kids. Yeah. And so there was this space there for Black Urbania to come in and say, hey, we're here. We actually represent a huge segment of the population that people like Bill Cosby would like to act like don't exist. And we're still professionals. We're still educated. We're still all of the things. And that was very similar to my experience growing up. You know what I mean? Like, coming from public housing and, you know, living in a city like Philly and all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, I have all the things. I know way too many people who've been, you know, shot and killed and lost to street violence and all of that stuff. But my life, my friends, there's no teenage mothers in my circle. There's no, you know what I mean? Like, everybody has a college degree. Everybody had hardworking parents who showed up for them, cared for them, were at all of their events, did the things. You know, we actually do live, you know, normal lives, even though we're in the quote unquote, you know, ghetto. And so shows like Martin and Living Single that had that little urban flair to it, but everybody was still good. That was the first time that I really felt like I was being depicted on TV.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's just, it's a matter of, you know, your experience and, you know, what it is that you choose to accept as Black life in America. But it's so colorful. It's so colorful. But I, you know, could relate to what was happening on, you know, your Martins and Living Singles and stuff a little bit more than what was happening on Family Matters. And I think that that is a lot of Black America. And that's why we're so nostalgic about that, because there were actually things in those shows that we could relate to. Yeah. And it wasn't just about us, you know, getting shot or having to worry about gangs or, you know, like.
Yeah, I think what I agree. And I think that it's interesting because obviously I, you know, we've talked about this. I grew up in the suburbs, but I never related to, well, I generally don't see myself on TV. That's not been a thing I've ever really seen, which is fine. I've also never really looked for it. I've always kind of been more interested in stories that aren't like mine. But I did not relate to Family Matters either. It never felt, same with, in some ways, the Cosby Show. Like a lot of those shows, they felt like they were intentionally doing this to show people something, but I didn't necessarily feel like it was showing something that I knew. Like, and
those shows were not for us.
Right. Exactly. So with like Martin especially, and I know Martin is a hot button conversation for a lot of folks.
I know. I
People
know.
are either some ways it's extremes, like it's their favorite show ever, or they can't stand it.
I know.
So
And I feel like younger people just do not get it at all. Like I've seen people online saying, I don't know how people could watch Martin and Gina's relationship was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. It's traumatizing. Like,
I've seen that a lot. I've seen a lot of people say that, like, as a woman, as a feminist, they feel like that show is degrading to women. I mean, look, I've heard it. I'm also like the 90s, a different time,
nobody leaves room for it being a different time.
It's a different time. I don't think it was, I actually don't see it like that, but also like I'm like, that's how relationships look usually. But like, I don't know. I don't want to pretend it was trauma, but I feel like that I hear that conversation a lot when it comes to depictions of relationships. And I think even in general, like there's a lot of people who feel a way about things that are not the Huxtables, right? They don't want to see situations that aren't that. And I'm like, that is a very lovely show, but that is not always how it works. And so, yeah, but people don't like Martin. They don't think it's funny, or they think the humor is, XYZ, or some people say it's like coonery and all kinds of stuff. So that show, I think, is particular. I think Different World and Living Single have a bit more of love and grace, right? But just also, and I also can get that because it's also a little different. I feel like Living Single never really went crazy, like Martin did some stuff that was like, he constantly broke the fourth wall. He constantly, did things silly just because he could. And that was, Chilligan's Island. I mean, like, it doesn't get no more ridiculous than that.
Right. But again, we're talking about somebody who's actually a comedian.
Yeah.
So I think the antics and shenanigans are just going to be next level because of the style of comedian that he actually was, which is what a lot of his show was based on. A lot of, the earlier Martin episodes are based on things that actually came from his stand-up specials.
Yep.
So, I don't think that people from a later time, especially like, Black people from, I guess late millennial through Gen Z, they don't have a clue what it was like growing up in the 90s as a Black person and trying to find something on there that was at that level, right? Because that's when we're first entering into this world of having TV shows that were so unapologetically Black, and you just knew that that's who it was for, and it was fine. Martin falls into that category. Shows like New York Undercover fall into that category. They were speaking to a specific segment of Black audience, and I just don't think that our more modern day Black people understand, what life was really given back then. Like, it's just a different time. You know what I mean? It's just a different time. It didn't seem crazy to us the way that it probably seems crazy to them.
Right. Which is interesting, because if you look at what they're consuming, even the stuff on TikTok looks completely nuts to me. You know what I mean? But that is the realm of how comedy and stuff is being portrayed now. Like each era has a different sort of thing, like, is it physical comedy? Is it looking at the camera, and breaking it out for like on an Abbott? Is it like, something old school with like a one camera shot, like a single camera, like a Upshaws, like there's so many different levels of how comedy and art has been sort of displayed now. So you would think there'd be a bit more grace, but I'm also talking about a generation that doesn't do grace to the elders. So,
Oh, well.
so you know, so there's that. And as I rock,
Not us being those people.
I
But
rock in my rocking
back in
chair.
my day.
Yeah, I'm definitely a back in my day guy. Yeah, for sure. And my day wasn't that long ago. We're talking 20 years ago, 10 years ago. No, 30 years ago or something.
This is wild. It really was that long ago. Good Lord. Ugh. Well, this is a conversation that can definitely be a little polarizing. I just know that, certain things that we grow up with, that we resonate with, are always going to have a special place in our hearts in a way that, generations to come after us are just not going to really get it.
Yeah.
I don't find anything in Martin traumatizing. I feel like people throw the word trauma around so willy-nilly that I'm okay, you really are this triggered by
unless you were a
relax.
child whose dad was a radio host and his mom was an ad exec, and you lived this in the apartment and it was abusive and something wild happened, okay, sure. But if you're a homie that lives in wherever slash wherever, and you just use words, you're doing too much. You gotta relax. It's a TV show and it's fun.
Relax. And if you don't like it, it's also fine. But we don't need a think piece on something that happened in an entirely different part of history that we all know wouldn't fly today. Like, we get it, but it was a time and it did have impact. I just don't think that people truly understand unless they have certain experiences. I don't think they understand what that impact really means. I thought that I really felt Khadijah James' character, or, Queen Latifah as Khadijah James, because I loved magazines and all of the things. So, and I wanted to live in New York and all that. So I saw that and I'm like, oh my gosh, this show is everything. So I think because our later generations have had those examples and seen,
Wait, Tristan, hold on one second. Let's take one pause because I want to dig into just a little bit. Let's take one pause. We'll be right back.
Okay.
Sorry, I just feel like you were getting into some really good things about Martin and whatnot. So I was like, hold on, I wanted to for you to dive in for real. But sorry.
I'm probably the worst person to be talking about this because everybody knows that Martin is my favorite sitcom of all time. And I won't even be friends with somebody who
I know you swear that I don't like Martin, which is hilarious.
I don't trust you people who don't know every episode word for word, bar.
Yeah, I don't know every episode word for word. I have to say that.
Up until the episodes where Gina is gone.
Well, look, every show for the most part has a season or so where it's like something happened behind the scenes and it's not the same. Someone got pregnant, someone left the show, someone had an argument, someone fought the producer. So I get that. And I feel like all that happened with Martin. I definitely was more a living single. I was more a living single New York Undercover than I was Martin. But to say that Martin is not funny or not one of the most impactful sitcoms of our era is silly. I just feel like, but I also can understand someone not liking it. It's not my understanding, but I can understand someone feeling like he's doing too much or because that show is so ridiculous. It's like, the wood chipper on Myra's feet and the nails going everywhere and the baby, the girl giving birth and the baby popping across the screen and him catching the football, all that is silly.
Yeah, it's so slapstick.
If that's not your type of humor, I can understand you being like, okay, this is too much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there's still funny things outside of that. I mean, I think Shanae is one of the best characters ever. I think
absolutely.
It's because it's so ridiculous and one of my favorite parts of watching Martin were watching the bloopers because I love bloopers. I love people breaking. That's my favorite. And there were so many of those where I'm like, I know that they had a blast filming.
Had a blast.
You know what I'm saying?
You can tell when Martin has totally gone off script,
Right.
and is just like doing his thing, and then everybody is just kind of like, we're gonna go with it. When they're trying to hold in their laughter, I mean, there are certain scenes that I am just like, how the hell did they get through this?
Oh, the New Jack City scene with that.
What? Are you kidding me right now? How did they get through that? I don't understand. And everybody's losing it. If you look at everybody's faces
Oh
close,
yeah, they can barely keep it together. Yeah.
they cannot keep it together. That the chemistry of that cast is just everything.
Yeah.
That was one of those shows where if we were outside playing on my block, everybody went inside. Martin's about to come on. And we were out. We were not missing that show. And then I try to talk about these things with like younger folks, and they want to tell me that the Jamie Foxx show is better than Martin. And then that's when I'm like, all right, pack it up. Because
spoiler, I never liked that show. Okay.
Ooh. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Because
I mean, it felt like a faux Martin to me.
Thank you. All right. So we're going to
so it felt like a faux Martin to me. Okay.
Well, listen, I'll give you a little bit of tea because the people behind Jamie Foxx are the same people that were behind Martin. Like a lot of the,
the writer,
things like that. But you can tell that every Black-led comedian show of that time was mimicking the comedy style of Martin.
For sure.
Jamie Foxx, the Wayans brothers, all of them.
Yeah. Yep.
That style, like Martin ushered that in, and they were definitely trying to recreate that energy.
Yes.
Other networks.
Yes. And I feel like other
wasn't the same.
No, it wasn't the same. Because again, like Martin is particular, like Martin, I mean, the show is named Martin is for a reason, right? Like he does anchor that show. The Jamie Foxx show, I never cared for Jamie Foxx comedy like that. Okay. It's no secret that I'm not a big fan of stand-up comedians. I was
about to say you hate comedy in general. So
I hate comedy in general. That is crazy. See what I mean? This is what happens. You say one thing, why you become a hater of comedy. I don't like stand-up comedians. I find it to be a lot of times low-hanging fruit. But I think comedy is a very important and a hard thing to do, to write, there's a level of confidence and understanding that comes with that. So I respect it, but if it's not funny, it's not funny. And so I felt like Jamie Foxx's style of comedy on that show wasn't funny to me. Whereas like Martin, even things he did, like Step, like making leave the house, like even that sort of ingrained in my own personal comedic stylings when I was a kid.
Absolutely. Oh my God. Yes.
And, get the step and all that jazz.
All of it. Yep.
I never use any Jamie Foxx quotes in my life. Like nothing from that show beyond making fun of Braxton, maybe some of those kind of things would come around, but I never really, it was like a pretty girl at the front and, Jamie Foxx, and like it just never, even the characters he played, it just never really did it for me. So out of the shows, that was the weakest for me. I think the Wayans brothers is funnier.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And like I feel like that is a show that obviously is influenced by Martin. Even their apartment kind of looked like Martin's apartment. Like there was those things.
Yeah, you could tell that they were, taking their cues from Martin and the magic that had been created on that show. But I think what separates Martin from the others is that Martin had an established kind of thing going on that we had already known him for, that he brought to the show. Whereas Jamie's whole thing was just kind of like like we didn't know who Jamie Foxx was as a comedian.
Right.
at the time of them
And he
giving him
didn't
a
bring.
show.
It's not like Wanda was on the show. Like he didn't bring any. Thankfully,
Yeah, what we knew him for from In Living Color, he couldn't bring that. That was In Living Color's material.
right?
So
Yeah,
we never really saw Jamie flourishing as a comedian on his own, really
right.
enough for him to carry a show, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Whereas Martin, I was laughing at him all the way back to Talking Dirty After Dark
yeah.
um to
House
House
Party.
Party
Yeah.
and he had that same energy,
Yep.
right, in those previous things that he had done
Mm-hmm.
and brought that to the show. So we already knew what we were getting out of him. We already knew we were getting loud, crazy, cussing, like don't care what he, says out of his mouth. He was already doing that.
Yeah.
I really did not know who Jamie Foxx was as a
I mean, I
comedian.
still don't.
Of course.
All right. No. No, but I'm not trying to be funny, but like I still don't. Because even Martin, the people Martin, Eddie, even a Dion Cole, like I know who they are as comedians. I know that is going to be like, I understand. I know what it is. Whether you like it or not, it's fine, but you know what it is. With Jamie, it's like, it could be impersonation. It could be not. There could be singing.
Right.
It's like, I don't know what this is. Is it a reality? Is it a variety show? Like what is happening? So that's what I mean. You know what I mean? Like I still, even the current special he has, I mean, it was legit everything. It was like gospel music. It was like a guitar solo by his daughter. It was like impersonation of Donald Trump. Like it's all over the place. You know
I
what
didn't
I mean?
watch it.
That's okay. I watched it for both of us.
Thank you. Thank you. Because I was not interested.
Okay. Yeah. But okay. So
Once I heard what it was giving, like I was almost gonna watch it. And then everybody was just like, he's doing this, and it's more like a testimony, and it's giving gospel, and I'm like, I don't need all of that in a comedy show.
yeah, I don't.
I mean, if it's more like one man show kind of vibes, then
I wish it was, because
but
it would have been very interesting if it was like kind of like Mike Tyson had done that a few years ago.
yeah, and Whoopi Goldberg, this has been done before, and
Yeah.
I've loved it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what I was expecting. So I don't know. I guess it just kind of like threw me off that I was expecting him to like really have just a stand-up comedy special. And then here's all these other elements of things that I don't really need in general, but for sure don't need from Jamie Foxx. So, I kind of skipped that one. Like, I was good on that actually.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's it's interesting that I actually did watch the Jamie Foxx show. I wasn't opposed to.
Sure.
I don't know all the episodes and can recite all the things like I can with Martin, but it was on when I was home and it was playing or whatever. Yeah. But I was, like I said, a little bit later in my life when Jamie Foxx came on, and I just could see so clearly that it was like a lot of knockoff Martin material that just wasn't being executed as well. And I was just like, this is not really.
It wasn't it for
me, but
I appreciate it.
I
appreciate it, right? I appreciate it. It was that era of WB, and so like that was its own set of, that was like Fox 2.0. It was like, okay, like we're gonna get the folks the shows.
They had to compete. So
yeah.
If this one has Martin, we're gonna get Jamie. If this one has whoever, like, they're gonna try to find something comparable to compete with. And that just, wasn't it. Now, technically, I don't think Jamie Foxx and Martin were on at the same time.
No, I think Martin ended 96 to 2001. And Martin was 92 to 97. So there was a little bit of an overlap.
Okay. So because I know I've seen the names of the credits, people in the credits, and I know that the same people worked on both shows.
Yep.
So and even down to Garrett Morgan and
Yeah, you get Morris being on both.
Garrett Morris, I'm sorry, and the one who played the aunt.
Oh, she was on there too?
Jamie Foxx, she was a frequent kind of like character on Martin every now and again. She played the wife of this couple, the Bookers. They were always
Right. Mm-hmm.
just randomly on there doing something weird, and then they, were on their way. They weren't like staple characters, but yeah, I remember seeing her also on Martin. So, those folks needed work and it's fine. But no, it's not the same. Whenever I hear somebody say Jamie Foxx's show is better than Martin, I'm like, get out of
Did you hear that on TikTok? Because
my house, my life.
Yeah, there's
People I
no
know in
way.
real life have said this. Now they're younger, so I'm
much
giving
younger?
grace. I'm giving grace.
I don't know anybody who like. I definitely know people who like that show. Now I think about it, and they are younger, right? And I guess maybe they grew up watching that versus.
It was their Martin. Yeah, for a lot of people, Jamie
Oh,
Foxx was their
I
Martin.
get that, but still, no. Like, I just never cared for that show. I never really cared for Jamie Foxx's comedy. At any, and it wasn't my personal. Even on Living Color, I'd be like, okay, here goes Wanda. Now I'm gonna be annoyed. Like,
Not interested.
yeah, I just wasn't interested. You know what I mean? Like, I
So
don't.
how do you feel about Jamie Foxx, the movie star? Because that I'm here for.
I'm okay with that. I'm
Yeah.
okay with that because I do think he has acting chops, right?
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of comedians, I think, to be good at comedy, there is acting in there. You're becoming a role, whether
Yeah, for sure.
And even with Jamie, since I'm like, is he really just this good? Is he really good at emulating things? But another story for another day. But because if you're good at impersonating people, you can kind of impersonate anyone if that's what you do.
Right.
But impersonations and portrayals are two different things. But anyway, so him as an actor, I mean, Any Given Sunday, Collateral Damage. I think that he even stuff that wasn't obviously Oscar, but like even him in Players Club, I'm cool with. Like, like there was humor in there, but it wasn't like silly. It was like he was still funny. Like he has a natural, obviously comedic timing. But yeah, I'm fine with him as an actor. Yep. Yeah.
Cool. So piggybacking off of this, leaning more into like the living single of it all, because if anybody remembers that Thursday night lineup, Living Single came on right after Martin.
Yep.
And completely different style of comedy.
Yep.
You have 4 women in the lead.
Yeah.
It just was smart, funny. We got to see Queen Latifah really show up and show out as an actress.
Yep.
Which was like a big deal back then.
Mm-hmm.
You had these 4 very distinct female characters.
Yeah.
Anchored by these 2 really funny, strong male characters.
Yep.
And they were giving us just like the smartest style of writing and comedy. And I just thought it was just so dope that we had that show. Like, who knew that Friends completely ripped it off?
Right.
A show I've never seen, by the way. I've never seen Friends.
I mean, that's fine. You're not missing much.
I mean, if I had Living Single, why would I? I didn't see Seinfeld when Martin was on because I believe they came on at the same time. I think the Thursday in my house was like Martin, Living Single, New York Undercover. And then I feel like in the others' households, it was Seinfeld, Friends, and like
Frasier, I think maybe. I think Frasier was part of that.
Frasier and all that. Yeah, I wasn't. Those shows at that age for me just seemed so boring and so vanilla and like not even remotely interesting. Now, later in life, I did go back and revisit Seinfeld and found that show to be entertaining, but I never cared about Friends.
Yeah, yeah,
Cared.
I never watched Friends like that either. I at the time I felt like there was a lot of hype around Jennifer Aniston, a hype that I didn't understand.
Never, yeah, never got it.
And so for me, like, and again, going back to the humor, like it was a little too, it was the usual trope. It was the guy that's not all that bright. You know, it was like the sarcastic guy. It was like the pretty girl, you know, like it was just the usual things. And I was like, I don't care enough about this. And it also feels like it's not going to be funny to me. And I knew it even at that age, my understanding of humor was particular, and every show couldn't get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Seinfeld, I never watched when it was on, but every now and then I would catch it on TBS and like, I could see this, you know, and then I went back and watched it like as an adult much, much later. I'm talking like 2015, 2016, like when I actually.
Oh, wow. That late?
Yeah, that late. Because I remember feeling like it really is a show about nothing. You know what I mean? And like, why am I watching this? And the Kramer of it all, I couldn't get into it.
I mean, but Martin and Seinfeld were pretty similar when you think about it, because Martin is a show about nothing.
For sure. For sure. But I guess because of the cultural aspect, it was easy for me to watch Martin and be like, okay, you know what I mean? But over the years, like I said, I've come to really enjoy Seinfeld and its silliness.
Yeah, Seinfeld's funny. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away. I like you. I discovered it a little bit later, not as late as you, but I did not watch that show in real time. And when I finally was able to go back and just, you know, enjoy reruns of it, I was just like, this is nuts. But I do see why people were hype about this show while the rest of, you know, people in my life were watching Martin. But I wasn't mad at Seinfeld, but Living Single gave me everything that I needed that I just feel like Friends never would or could.
Sure.
So, so I was good on that. And then we had like, what else did we have going on TV at that time? That was when like every Black comedian was getting a show, right? Like Steve Harvey, Mark Curry, who else? Bernie Mac didn't get his until much later.
Yeah. But even him getting a show, I mean, like, shoot, I think all the Kings of Comedy had a show, right?
All the Kings of Comedy did eventually have a show.
Or at least be on a show, right? Yeah.
Yep. Because DL had the Hughleys.
The Hughleys, yep. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. Like, I don't know. It's interesting. Like,
and even in those, right? Like you see that with Bernie Mac and D.L. Hughley, that is kind of like a marrying of the two different styles of Black show that we would see in the 90s, where it was either urban or suburban and very, you know, the lines were drawn. Then socially, you have, you know, Black people starting to make more money and, you know, doing more things in the real world. And so you'll start to see comedians like a D.L. Hughley, who clearly come from a traditional Black comedy landscape, but he had money in that show. You know what I mean? Like, and then you bump that all the way up to Andre in Blackish.
Yeah. Yep.
That is definitely a version of the Cosby Show.
Oh, for sure.
That's like, you know, that's 1000% a version of
and
a hood urban version of the Cosby Show.
Right.
So
And Grownish is like almost a version of Different World, right? So
yeah. And Grownish is yep, correct.
It's a mixed dish, but the first two, I will say, you know, they were definitely new versions of that. You know what I mean? So and it sort of a return, because all the other shows we mentioned were always comedian led, you know, like whereas Anthony Anderson, to my knowledge, was never a comedian. He was always an actor.
Yes. A comedic actor, but an actor, right? I don't
Well,
recall him ever doing any stand-up or anything.
I remember him being on Hang Time. That's the first time I saw him back in the day. Um,
What is Hang Time?
Hang Time, okay. Hang Time with a show, kind of like Saved by the Bell or California Dreams, and it was like a basketball team. And like a high school basketball team, and he was on there. That's the first time I saw Anthony Anderson. Yep. Yep. You don't know, you never seen this.
My gosh, I'm looking. Wow, I really forgot about this show.
That was like that's when like it was Hang Time and it was like
What was the one?
City Guys.
City Guys, yes.
City
I was
Guys.
like, with the guy that I always
Yeah.
used to confuse with Nick Cannon.
Oh yeah, Wesley Jonathan. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yes.
So it's like that was that era. You know what I'm saying? Like Saved by the
Yeah.
Bell class, City Guys, you get California Dreams.
Yeah. Wow. Hang Time. I totally forgot about that show. I had to pull that up.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in. All I remember is that he had a cigarette smoking problem on that show, and that was an episode. I don't know why that
My
would have.
God, that is wild.
But yeah, he had a
I believe that show was on from 1995 to 2000.
Now that I can't believe because that's what that show had 2 seasons of that. So that
Right?
I must have checked out. Like that means they got a new cast, and I by then I was like, okay, I'm
Something happened. Yeah, something
on a
changed.
Saturday. I'm not watching, teen TV. I'm out. I'm involved with events.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was a whole college student towards the end of this run of this show, so I know I wasn't interested. Wow, that's crazy. But yeah, that kind of, switcheroo from just like pure unadulterated black bourgeoisie, a la Cosby in a different world, to full on shenanigans with Martin and Jamie and Wayans and all that. And then at some point, we find our happy medium between those two worlds. Where the guy comes out of the hood and moves his family to the suburbs and has to deal with all of the things of being caught between two worlds. And that's kind of where we, end up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what our good friend Jaleel was on. I think he just
I don't think he thought. I think he thought he was going to fly under the radar with that comment because people haven't really checked for Jaleel White since Family Matters. But the North remembers, and this is about like that. Like I said, I think he worded it wrong. I think he meant to say he felt like he wasn't given the credit that other shows got. And he feels like that wasn't right because he was more mainstream, but like from his people, he feels like he's not regarded as one of the greats. And I think that is a fair statement. You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily think it's true, but I think that is a fair statement to feel, right? Because when people do talk about characters on TV shows or comedic actors, his name never comes up,
Yeah.
Despite the work he was doing on that show and how he kind of saved that show and then ultimately maybe ruined it, depending on how you look at it. But like, like that show wouldn't have made it 2 seasons if he wasn't on it. I mean, that's just a matter of fact.
Yes, correct. Correct. Because it was originally a spinoff for Harriet's character.
Can you imagine that character being the main for seasons? No, you can't.
No, I don't see how they would have kept that going without adding something in there like an Urkel character. I really don't.
I mean, shoot, I feel like shout out to Sean Harrison, aka Waldo Geraldo Faldo. I feel like he gets more credit for his character work, and as he should, because also he flipped it on as Peaches and Girlfriends. Like,
wait a minute.
So like,
wait 1 minute.
We got to give him his flowers because that brother.
I loved him as Peaches or Girlfriend. Yeah. What?
Sean Harrison, man, listen.
Talk about somebody who needed a spinoff.
Right.
I would have been here for that.
Like,
I definitely would have been here for that.
Yeah, he was great. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah.
I don't know. I think that we have a completely different television watching experience when it comes to those shows back in the day and what people want to see now. And I totally get it.
Yep.
But, just like with the music, I'm not interested in this new shit. So, uh,
Right.
I'm officially that girl. I'm officially that age. Like, this stuff is not better than what we had back in the day. And I'll die on that hill.
Uh,
What's your favorite Martin episode before we go?
Goodness. I feel like, that's a good question. I have a few, but the one that always comes to mind, the one I always will watch if it's on, is when Gina goes to work in the shop for Shanae.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like that, first of all, I feel like it's interesting because that episode doesn't have Martin in it at all, really.
Right. It's him just playing Shanae.
Him just playing Shanae.
Yeah.
But I feel like the comedic timing of Shanae, even Gina, even even when she's trying to get the tickets and Shanae makes Pam, aka Tichina Arnold, sing "Old MacDonald Heart of Farm."
Yes. Yes.
And then, like she's, it's like, and on that farm, like she's
Yes.
like that to me is like so ridiculous. I'm like, what?
It's so
What is wrong with you? Why would you make her sing "Old MacDonald Had a Farm"? First of all,
it was so unbelievably over the top that it just couldn't be anything else but funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely one of my top.
That's number one. I would think the episode with the stolen CD player and the
New Jack City episode. Yep.
Of it all is a strong contender. There is the episode where he thinks Gina's cheating on him, and
yes,
because that also has Bob from marketing. I recall, right? Is that the one?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Is that the order 10 large pizzas and charge it to the room?
Yes. Yes.
All that.
Yep.
Him fighting the dude is just the dog. Like all of that silliness. I feel like those are like in my top three, and then probably switch around. What's yours?
Yep, those are good. Those are definitely good. Well, the New Jack City episode and Gina working in Shanae's shop for sure.
Yeah.
Up there. Oh my God, this is way too hard for me. Are you serious? Did I
put top five? Like, yeah.
Because I'm dumb for bringing this up. There's just too many. What is another good one? Oh, the one where he mistakenly sets up Pam and Tommy.
Yes.
Gina, and let me tell you something. No. Tisha Campbell not getting an Emmy.
Yep.
Or any of that is crazy to me.
Yeah.
That
I'll have to put that in our snubbed.
Yeah.
Because
my God, Martin was everybody. Martin was snubbed. Yes,
Jaleel White, to some degree, deserved it. To me, an Emmy nom.
Agreed. I do not see any reason why Jaleel White couldn't have gotten an Emmy out of all those years of playing Steve Urkel. There's no reason for it.
Yep.
But yeah, that episode will forever be one of my favorites. What else? God, there's too many. Like I can't. Anything pretty much with Shanae and it is pretty much a given. The one where Gina and Pam were trying to join the women's league.
Yes.
And Shanae and Laquita got in for, oh my God, that one.
Yeah.
Top tier, funny, crazy, a mess.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know the episode where they're trying. There's actually a lot. The episode when they're explaining how they met.
Yes, that's oh my gosh, yes.
Like, I did not come flowing across the roof.
And he remembers, and this is what I mean by Martin being a straight up Black show.
Yeah,
because him referencing the Mac, those 70s Black exploitations, which is what the character Jerome is built off of. Like, you just have to know Black culture, to really know Martin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what always made that such a really dope show to me. Like he just pushed the envelope, went full on blackness, and just did not care if you did not get it. Like it was for who it was for.
Yeah. No allowances, no audits, no edits made for you to understand it. No explanation voiceover, like it's
Nope.
what it
Nope.
is, or you did, you know what I'm saying? Like
It was for us.
oh,
That was the for us by us show for sure.
or forced by us time that Thursday, 8 p.m. to between 8 and 10, between that Living Single and New York Undercover, like it didn't get no more black than that, but okay, word. Okay. Wait, let me ask you this. Do you have a least favorite episode of Martin?
Yeah, I can really do without the whole last season of Martin.
That's when they were like separated, but not, right?
Yeah.
Like,
The
they were
last
together.
good one, I would say the last good one is the Halloween episode where he's Ike and Gina is Tina.
Yeah.
Because that wig and the
That-
way he keeps shaking his head, honey, listen, I cannot keep it together.
yeah.
Cannot keep it together on that episode. Every time he turns his head and that wig just goes full spin, I lose it. Okay. So that was, I think, the last season or second to last season of the show. But for me, in my mind, that's like the last truly funny episode with the whole cast that I can remember.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those shows that I'm just like, this is such a integral part of my childhood that I can't even understand like why anybody would think that this show was not everything. The episode when Gina's sorority sister visits
Uh-huh.
and she's like a complete fraud and Pam and Martin hate her, so then they team up to like try to get rid of her. Ugh. Love it.
Which is great because you would never expect that to happen with
Exactly. Those few times when Pam and Martin actually found themselves like on the same side of something.
Mm-hmm.
That is too funny to me. Do you have a favorite living single?
Oh my gosh. No, I'm trying to think. Do I have a favorite living single episode? There's a few that stick out. The episode where they go to the club and Regine keeps talking about her ponytail and then her dress keeps getting drink spilled on it, or she's trying to spill drinks to someone.
Everybody in the party has the dress on.
Yes. So she has to keep spilling the drink. She's like, I'm on ponytail. Actually, that one.
Yep.
Feel like, I don't know. There's a lot. There's just. I feel like scenes stick out to me more in that show.
Like the entire episode. Yeah, I get that.
Like, like her talking about her Chanel. He's like, no, Max was like, it's Chanette.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if there's one particular episode. I just feel like in my head, I'm thinking of scenes. Even that they broke the fourth wall with like the episode where they were trying to see who was going to get Morris Chestnut and you had to vote on it.
Yes, I remember that.
And then ended up being Khadijah ended up being like wanting to go Dutch, and she was like, "Look at this, you're supposed to be my people," It's like, okay, this is great.
So good.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a favorite though. I like a lot of that show. The episode where they're like in the group, the girl group.
Oh yeah, when they're doing like the think back to the old
time. And shoot, Martin, I would say the episode with Biggie is one of my favorites too.
Oh my God, yes.
With Gina singing.
I forget the episode with Biggie. Another, nod to the culture from Martin. He had everybody who was, Method Man has been on Martin. Biggie has been on Martin.
Yeah, Wendy Williams.
Wendy Williams was on Martin. Like that was for the culture. I'm sorry, Jaleel, baby, you never had a chance.
They had Tracy Spencer.
Girl.
They had Tracy Spencer.
Oh my God. They also had wasn't Shy?
Shy was on there, I think. Yeah.
And Johnny Gill. Everyone Johnny Gill was on there singing and
my mind. Well, yeah.
or was acting a fool. So yeah, that was back when Black music and television were always
Yes, they were always connected. Yeah, that was always because
connected.
even not living single, excuse me, Nurk Undercover had always artists perform at,
Yep. At Natalie's.
Natalie's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. They always had their cameos. Good old fashioned Black TV. I miss it. It's good. Well, thank God everything is streaming in rerun form. So if any of the shows that we mentioned today have never made it on your radar, please go and look them up.
Yeah, we can put
And
together a list. I can do that of the shows we talked about and where they're streaming because y'all need to get on it if you've never seen. For
yeah.
sure, Martin Living Single, they're gonna cover. Jamie Foxx you could wait on, but the other ones you got to see. Nah, that's cool. Jamie Foxx show you can watch too. It's a good one.
Watch them all. I mean, I did at some point. I wanted to see them all. I loved hanging with Mr. Cooper. I liked the Steve Harvey show. Um,
Yeah.
and definitely add a different world in there. You'll
Mhm.
see a lot of the things socially that were going on back then are still happening now. So it's definitely still a culturally relevant show. But yeah, I just feel like there's this time where we could get away with a lot and have fun with it. And maybe that time is no more, but I'm still there. I don't know about anybody else, but I'm
I
still
mean, the good thing is that it's still you can still watch it. It's not canceled or gone. You can still watch it at your leisure, and it's still streaming.
yeah.
Word. All right. Well,
Don't write any think pieces on it, please. We don't need
no,
it.
we're done with Think Pieces. We left this in 2024. But all right, cool. Well, on that note, we're gonna dip out of here. But as always, good chatting. Good to catch up, and we'll see y'all soon.
Yep. Follow us on all the things. Leave comments, DM us. Next episode, I think we should probably touch on some of the questions and stuff that we get in DMs because I do get things. So maybe we'll do that next time.
Word. Sounds good.
Peace.
All right. Peace.